Welcome back to this episode of Paint Society. In this episode, I'm going to show you a job that's not bad enough to redo. And this vehicle is a 2024 Integra. You can see that the door had some body work. It's got a new fender, but this job has already been repainted, but not by me, by someone else that probably gets their paint mixed up and sent to them because they really had no option because the color that they painted is way greener than the color that it should be, which is more browner. And you can see here, they taped everything off and they painted it with the moldings on. But in this episode, we're gonna do things the right way, and I'm gonna show you how I learned how to do this job and get away with doing it good enough so we don't have to redo it and we can send it out. But it always wasn't like that. And you see, this is one I just painted only a week ago, and I'm not 100% happy with it. We replaced the fender on this side. It's the same exact car, it's the same exact color, and we blended it into the door, but the color is a little bit lighter than I want it, and I know the reason why. You can see, you probably wouldn't be able to tell, but you can tell right in this area, right in here, it's a little bit lighter at that top trim than it is, especially with the fluorescent lights. And on this side, this is original non-painted and obviously still wrecked because it's not gonna get fixed. It's not a part of the insurance claim, but you can see the color is a little bit more browner. This is nothing that anyone ever would notice. That's why it's good enough to send out, but I can definitely tell it, and you as a painter probably could tell as well. And I got to thinking, what is the problem? Why did this happen? Well, I had to understand something. We've done this before where the color matches perfectly the same color, but we've used a black undercoat. Well, on the other vehicle, I didn't use a black undercoat, and that changed everything. You can see here on a spray out card, we used a black undercoat on one side, on the other side we didn't. We used the same exact color, we sprayed the whole card, and you can see that one side is slightly darker that matches the actual vehicle the way it's intended. And that's just what we're gonna do on here. So we have a rear door blend. This door is completely for blend, and yep, my buddy got a little bit of a burn through here. So we'll put some color over here, but we're gonna take some black and we're gonna move it all the way down into this door. We're actually just gonna use a sealer, and we're gonna take the sealer and we're gonna move it up into the hood right in here. So when we're looking at the hood visually, everything blends and matches. On the particular bumper, this is a freebie we're gonna do for free because again, it's painted and has more of a green tone. I want everything on my job to match perfectly. So we'll go ahead and seal that up. And we'll do the same thing here. We're gonna seal this black and we'll go ahead and paint it. Let's go ahead and get to it, give you the best knowledge that I have, show you how to paint. Again, we're using our Ion Star and our tack rag. You wanna make sure you tack it, then you can go over it just to make sure there's no static. Really only for professional use, do-it-yourselfers. Don't spend the money, you really don't need it. You're probably gonna be wet sanding and buffing anyways if you're spraying in a garage. Guys, in these videos, I'm dropping knowledge every single moment. If you didn't understand something, then watch it again. Or leave a comment and I can help you out. I need you guys not to make the same mistakes I've made in the past. And that's exactly why I make these videos. You can never be too clean in anything you do. I've washed these panels off 2 or 3 times, and now we're doing the actual tack rag and using the static gun. If you're a professional painter, you need all the tools you can, but never expect the paint job to come out without at least some particles of dust. It's a part of the game. That's why they make sandpaper. You need to listen to what I'm saying to you right now. If you have a color like this and you need a black base coat underneath like this color, you need to make sure there's black base on every portion that there was primer or any other color than sanded clear coat. You don't need the black undercoat already on the sanded clear coat. This is sanded with 800 grit. The color is already there. We're blending on top of it, so it already has that base that it needs. But over here, it's a gray, dark gray primer. Over there, that was a cut-in fender. We need to put the black base on it to make that color match. Now, one thing I don't want you to worry about either is the edge of the sealer right now. I'm gonna show you, after we're done, what we do with it. All right, so we're gonna stop our sealer into the door about maybe just about a quarter of the way. And then we're gonna take our sealer over this whole door. Remember, this has been repainted before, so it's got some yuckiness around the door edges that we sanded, and we want everything to be nice and smooth. We're spraying around 16 PSI. This is the DV1 B Plus air cap, and we're just letting that sealer fall where it's at. When we come to the edge, we kind of pull away just a little bit. Come to the edge, let it pull away, and that's all we gotta do, all right? We're spraying this medium wet, doesn't need to be full glossy. On camera, it might come across a little bit glossy, but it's medium wet. Over in this area, let me clean this up a little bit, all right? And we're gonna leave it just like that. Over here is very important. We're gonna take our sealer right to the edge of the hood. Although this whole entire hood is green, and I don't want it to be green, I want it to actually be the same color as the car. We need these two to match so that when we look at the fender to the hood, they have the same undercoat. And then I'll just go ahead and base the whole entire hood with my base coat. And all we gotta do is just connect the dots at this point, and we're gonna angle down that gun so we don't get overspray all over our hood, just like this. That's all. And we have this freebie bumper that I'm doing because I want everything to match. Sometimes I don't have the time to wait for them to call the customers, for them to come out, approve the bumper, insurance to come and look at it. No, it's quicker for us to get it all taken apart, paint it, it's done, the car leaves, we'll make our money on another car. Sometimes you're gonna do a little bit of a freebie here and there just to get the car to go. Now, we can see also on this top trim piece, this is an extension of the hood. I did this all in the sealer of black. And what I'm gonna do here is the same thing. I'm gonna put just a little bit of black, so when we put that base there, it matches, okay? That's all we're gonna do. And we leave it just like that. And this is so important to make sure that everything that connects on the car has the same undercoat. Otherwise, the color will look different. You will think it will look the same. It's going to look different if it has a different undercoat, trust me. Next up, we're gonna use blending additive. Every single paint line has a sort of blending additive. Basically, all it is clear base coat. And the reason why you wanna use it is because this is a sanded clear coat finish. The metallics will lay in a sanded finish. You don't want that. We wanna put on that thin layer of clear base. It creates a solid foundation so that the metallics can lay nice and smooth instead of all hairy inside of the cracks. Also, it's gonna take this edge right here, which is really already smooth, and it's gonna smooth it out so you won't see any crustiness at the edge of the blend. All right, and this is really simple. We have that ugly edge here. We have our clear blending additive, same gun cleaned out, 16 PSI, and we're just gonna go on the edge here, and all we're doing is a light coat. We don't want to darken up the edge too much towards the quarter panel and the door, the rear door. And this is just going to smooth it out. We're going about maybe 4 or 5 inches past here on that black sealer. And that's it. So now we're going to have a nice finish to blend into. And we'll take it up here right at the edge, and we'll connect the dots. Basically, this will give us a nice finish to go over because there will be some blending towards the edge of the hood. I'm gonna give this whole entire hood color because like I said, here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna get this car back and they're gonna say, oh, it's green, or it doesn't match, or it doesn't look the same as the rest of the car. And I don't wanna take that chance. Sometimes a customer might not notice a problem until it's actually your turn to work on the car. And for the 2 or 3 ounces that it's gonna take just to put some base over this hood and stop it around this body line right here that you're looking at, it's gonna really make this whole car look the same and give life to this whole car. And we're gonna be proud of the job that we did. On the last job I did, I was proud of it, but it could have been a touch better. But remember, we see things that people can't. And that's the beauty of it. We can get away with some of these slight, tiny little mistakes. But every job that comes in, like this job that came in, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna have the opportunity to fix my mistakes, and redemption is the best thing you can have when it comes to automotive painting, to feel good that you actually figured something out. So we're gonna let this flash just a little bit. None of these sealer parts are gonna need any color. This is for another bumper or another car, but this is the top piece, and this is the bumper for the car. So we are ready now. We'll give this a few minutes to flash to start putting some base on, and I'll show you how we do that. All right, we are 10 minutes out, and some people might ask, don't you need to blend into wet blending additive? Sometimes, if you have a tough blend, and that can always be an option. There's two ways to use it. But right now, we're gonna start our blend here and get this all covered up. But remember, we got a little bit of a burn through, so we're gonna lightly trigger that. So I can call this area done, and we don't have to worry about coming back to it. So just lightly trigger it. A burn through with 800 grit is not gonna take much to put some paint over. And that's it. You see how we put our car in backwards, so all the overspray goes towards the front. It doesn't drag over this whole rear door and change the color of the car, okay? So now what we can do is we'll start to cover this up. We're gonna spray it medium wet. All right, so I'm gonna take you a little closer here. We're gonna spray it wet enough that we can see that it's not gonna mottle. And this color over this black base is going to blend out really nice. I'm just gonna worry about the blend first, kinda get this kinda oriented, and then I'll start with my coverage. Okay, so I kinda do a little bit of this, nothing crazy, but something where I start to feel good about it. You can see right here already, that is looking good. Any dark spot we wanna make sure that we're careful of, we wanna make sure that we're not seeing anything towards the middle of the door, so once it flashes off, you really want to keep an eye on that. And we can fan it out. You might have something around here, but once it dries, you'll have a better idea. Now we'll continue that base, and we'll put it on medium wet, around 75% overlap. The one thing you want to do is keep it moving. Never stop in the middle of the panel, because that can cause streaks or different imperfections in the paint, and you don't want that. Especially on a metallic paint job, you're gonna see it. Remember, once I get to the end of the rear door, towards the middle of the rear door, at the end of the blend, I just wanna keep that moving and flick it out. Just a natural progression on how we flick that out. You don't wanna ever stop. And as you're painting, adjust your stance so you can be like a robot. Remember, a robot never has to take breaks. In the factory, when they paint these cars, they just keep on moving. And you need to be the best you can as a robot so that you can keep it moving, no matter if you're moving from the bottom of the door up to the roof, up to the hood, whatever it might be. In this case, the hood, we keeping it moving. You can see the transition is beautiful. Let's move on to the rest of the hood. Now, all I need to do here is just cover my black paint, my black sealer, and then on that second or that final coat, depending on coverage, I'll come over the whole entire hood and I'll give it a nice coat that matches the factory better than what they put on here in the last body shop. Now we're gonna spray it on a little bit wetter here, really work that blend, try to get it all nailed in on this last coat. So basically I'm gonna put it on wet here, I'm working the blend first, coming a little bit further than I want to, but just enough to make this all kind of blend out. Putting it on wetter on your blend is gonna help it dry smoother. All right, so then I'll just come here and then I'll kind of fan it out right after. And that's gonna help with the actual metallic laying down a little bit smoother. And that's it. Gonna leave that alone. Hopefully that's good enough. You can check our tape here, it still looks pretty good. So we shouldn't have any color issues from here to there. We know that this door was untouched when it was painted last, so this still has a factory color on it. Now we're moving on to the door. It's gonna be a little bit easier. The blend is where it's gonna get a little tricky, but spraying the door straight up, it's not gonna be a problem. Now getting back kind of like to the title of the video, sometimes as an automotive painter, guys, not every single job is gonna be perfect. Sometimes it needs to be good enough just to get out. You know, good enough where you can't notice it, good enough where, you know, the customer is not gonna know what you're looking for. I know some shops that, hey, the customer just wants their car back. They're not gonna be too picky, and honestly, I haven't had really, in my 9 years of working as an automotive technician here at Acura, I've had maybe one customer with a comeback for like a dirt neighbor or something. Granted, we try to take dirt out of all of our paint jobs if we have any, but you would think Acura, even though it's not really a luxury brand, since people are paying a little bit more money for their cars, they would care a little bit more. Granted, we still do good work, but people aren't too picky about their paint, to be honest. I think I'm the most picky about what I paint more than them. And I do not mean at all that I do not redo jobs, because I do. And what I mean by redo is not necessarily redo them because I'm not happy with something, but maybe just take a step further and do a blend or do something a little bit more on the house to make it work out. Because what I try to do now with my paint jobs is I try to look at what can go wrong and what issues can I have. So I'll analyze a whole paint job like I analyze this paint job. When I analyze this paint job, I'm like, I already see the problem here. This car's been painted. We have a different color on it. I know this color can match better, and I'm gonna have to take my color a little bit further to make this all work. And I promise you, whatever it takes to get the job out the door, your boss most likely is gonna be okay with, because they want you to fix the problem. And you are the technician that's gonna have to do it. So just taking your paint a little bit further, correcting a situation for the customer, you can really earn a customer for a lifelong term for the car and whatever cars they might have in the future, just by doing a good job. All right, we're here 15 minutes later. It's all dry. Learn from my mistakes. Let's check it out. The lights are off and we have our cheap Astro light. Guys, there's a Milwaukee one, it's like 250 bucks. This Astro one is like 60 bucks. I'm telling you, that's all you need. I'm looking at my black primer or my sealer underneath, and I don't want to see any sign or trace of it. And I'm also checking out my blend. And I'm making sure that everything looks nice and uniform and nice and clean, which it does. I'm also checking out the front of this hood. I want to make sure I don't have any black sealer still showing, which I don't. So everything here is looking like it's good to go. Over here is untouched, so it matches the fender. And then we have our top grill piece panel here, the hood extension, and the bumper. This is the most crucial part of any paint job before clearing. So she's all good to go. Let's knock some clear on this and send it out of here. 20 minutes later, we're ready to clear. I'm never gonna lose an opportunity to teach you guys. Remember, on that middle portion here, so we avoid that buildup, all I'm gonna do is go vertical first. And that's it. And then I'll do down here on the fender, go vertical, just so we have some clear. And now we can connect the dots so we don't get that build up here. Now we'll switch it over to the horizontal or the flat, and then we're gonna fill in the spots. I'm gonna keep it away from the edge, moving here at 26 PSI. Just keeping it moving on that first coat. Again, we don't wanna run on that first coat. We're gonna run on that first coat, it's gonna be hard to recover. I'm also not taking it to the very edge of the door by the quarter panel, keeping it moving over that door handle opening. That's kind of where it wants to hang up and run a little bit. Not too concerned if we have a dry spot right now. We'll clean all that up on the second coat, just looking to get it on, okay? And sometimes, honestly, on these jobs, you really don't know how they look until you get them into the shop. And that shop lighting will really tell you if you got a good color or not, those fluorescent lights. Outside, sometimes not as much, but in the shop, man, you'll feel like an amateur sometimes. Again, with the clear coat here, just keeping it in between those two lines. This seems to be working pretty good for me. On the second coat, you have the option of just going over it, but on the first coat, you don't want to build it up so much, all right? We'll carry it onto the fender here. Keeping it moving, about 4 or 5 inches from the panel. First coat, I don't put it on terribly wet, except for the hood. I like to lay that down a little bit because if you don't, we'll have a dry hood. Granted, customer is not even gonna think that you painted the hood because the damage was on the fender and the door. Average customer just doesn't understand that, and that's where we come into play. They're only gonna notice that something's wrong. So don't give them a reason to look at something if there's nothing to be repaired in that area to begin with. Don't give them a reason to find something. I gotta be careful with this paint suit. These lab coats, sometimes the edge of them will want to hit the top of that hood. And I'm telling you, it's happened before. So I kind of have to use my left hand here to hold back that paint suit a little bit, that lab coat. It's just so much more convenient to wear the lab coat than it is to wear the whole paint suit sometimes if you're wearing pants. First coat's down, color's looking really good. We're gonna put this into fast forward mode, get all this cleared, and we'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll get it all back assembled and see if our color matches. All right, and here it is all assembled. I gotta say, this thing is looking really, really good. I'm really happy. Using that black undercoat, man, everything just lines up. It matches really well. All the plastics, you know, our butt match here to the bumper to the original fender. I'm happy with that, especially underneath these lights. It looks pretty good. The hood to the hood extension looks great. Down the side of the car, the blend into the rear door matches the quarter panel. So this one I'm really happy with. And I learned a lot on the last one, which is over there getting buffed. So much so that what ended up happening is, believe it or not, we were going to finish up that car, get the airbag put in, and I was going to pull the car in, and I'm sitting there looking at the car, and I'm like, yo, this is horrible. I never seen, like, certain lights will show the blends differently. The blend looked horrible to the front door. The color did not have that black undercoat. There was no option for me at that point, guys. I had to pull it back in and sand it down and do a quickie and get it, the black undercoat and everything sprayed up and get it done. But once it was all done, man, it looked a lot better. But these things just happen. Sometimes they're good enough to let go, and sometimes they're just not. And that's when you have to go back and swallow your pride, fix it, because you don't want to be embarrassed when it comes back. So just fix it before it leaves. And these things happen. It doesn't mean that you are not good or you didn't take the extra time or you don't know what you're doing. But paint is funny. I always tell you guys, don't overthink it though. Just get back to the basics. Guys, this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next episode.